Welcome into the Fantasy Football Diagnostics Podcast, where we provide you with your weekly diagnosis of everything fantasy football. Whether it's season-long leagues, dynasty, DFS, or sometimes even IDP, we got you covered all year long. Let's do it. Let's get to it. Welcome into the Fantasy Football Diagnostics Podcast. It is Thursday, October 20th. I'm your host, John June, and of course, this guy on my left, Greg Penniman. Greg, how we living? How we feeling? How we doing today, bro?
Feeling good. Getting into this. Actually, it was halftime just ended for that Thursday night game. I was saying happy Taysom Hill scores for those people that we like to see that for the cheat code that is Taysom Hill first position. But it's going well. Getting ready for week 7. Yeah, week 7. Let's do it.
Yeah, we are so close to him breaking fantasy football, though, because they did say on the broadcast that he is the backup quarterback for Andy Dalton today.
Wow.
Jameis Winston obviously returned from the back injury, not fully, I guess, didn't have enough practice time, just coming off the injury report. So they said if anything were in an emergency situation, I mean, Jameis Winston would be available only in an emergency situation, but Taysom Hill is effectively the backup quarterback tonight. So,
Dalton's one pick away from Taysom Hill just coming into the game, I feel like. There's another
which
pick
would be
away.
great because I kind of rogue started Andy Dalton in the Super Flex League right before the game. Got Josh Allen on bye. I didn't really want to start Zach Wilson against Denver, especially if he doesn't have Elijah Moore, which is a whole other topic that I could have a whole other podcast about, but not going to subject people here to that to this evening. But yeah, that's kind of where we're at. So I don't want Andy Dalton to get benched. I would rather him just stay in the game and keep trying to score. It looked good for a minute. I thought I looked like a genius that first touchdown pass. I was like, oh yeah, here we go, Andy Dalton. Anyway, enough about that game. I'm sure we'll talk about it again tomorrow, on Saturday when we break down tomorrow's Friday, but on Saturday when we break down the 4 p.m. games along with give out starts of the week. But today we are here to break down the 7 1 p.m. games that we have. And without further ado, let's just jump right into it, Greg. And the 1-4 Detroit Lions travel to Dallas to take on a 4-2 Dallas Cowboys. This game has a 48.5 point total, where the Dallas Cowboys are 7-point favorites on the road. No weather concerns in this game. In terms of injuries, Dallas is okay. They're actually getting healthier, getting quarterback Dak Prescott back. For Detroit, Josh Reynolds, the wide receiver, who was a DNP with a knee. Wide receiver DJ Shark, he was a DNP with an ankle. And then running back DeAndre Swift, he was limited in practice with an ankle and a shoulder. Said he is pushing to play on Sunday, so it seems like he's on track. And then the Detroit Lions have a bunch of other guys questionable. In this game here, I will take the under. I'm going to take Dallas to cover. Going to take Dallas to win. CeeDee Lamb, wide receiver 1, has had more 100-yard receiving games with Cooper Rush than he's had with Dak Prescott.
Crazy.
But I still think that this offense runs through him. He's got an absurd target share, so continue to roll him out there. Dak Prescott, I think he's a QB1 in this matchup here against Detroit. And then Zeke is an RB2 with Pollard being an RB2, potentially RB3 option. Michael Gallup does have some high upside in terms of a flex play, especially with the bye weeks and the matchup being so good. And then on the Detroit side, Swift, he's an RB1. Monroe St. Brown, he's a wide receiver 1. Josh Reynolds, a wide receiver 2. And then I guess you could play TJ Hawkinson.
Yeah, I'm gonna take the over. I'm gonna take the Lions to cover, but I'm gonna take Dallas to win. On Detroit side, Jared Goff, I think, is more of a super flex conversation. He could possibly not have a very good day on it because this D line is again probably the best in football, and they're gonna get to him, probably get a lot of maybe create some turnovers. So I would temper expectations for Jared Goff a little bit. DeAndre Swift, if he's back, you're starting him, of course, as a RB1. Jamal Williams, I think, has some RB3 value, flex value. Monroe St. Brown, wide receiver 1. Josh Reynolds didn't practice today again. I mean, coming off a bye week, definitely not a good sign. So we're hoping he plays.
He
'Cause
did play the week before though, which is the weird part, right? Like he played the week
yeah, that's
before,
weird. So he
dealing
got
with
hurt
the
on his day off.
ankle, and then you come back from a bye and then you're not practicing. Never a good look
Yeah.
when that happens.
Yeah, definitely. But if he's able to go, definitely some flex value, low wide receiver two value, I think. Especially because DJ Shark is not out. It's just him and Amon Ra. That when TJ Hawkinson, tight end one, you're playing him. On the Dallas side, Zeke has been, pretty solid as a solid RB2. I mean, he had 6.2 yards per carry last week. That's season high. He's run really well. Even with, a mixing of volume, he's got sometimes he gets 20 carries a week, sometimes he gets, maybe in the teens, but he's been doing a lot with his opportunity. So you're playing him, CD Lamb, wide receiver one. Yeah, you're playing those guys. I think Michael Gallup, Detroit Lions defense is really bad. So I think a lot of other people are gonna be involved. I think Michael Gallup has the week here.
Yeah, Gallup definitely has upside. Moving on to the next game here, we got the 3-2-1 Indianapolis Colts traveling to Tennessee to take on the 3-2 Tennessee Titans. This game has a 43.5-point total, where the Indianapolis Colts are 2.5-point road favorites here. In terms of whether we're okay, in terms of injuries for Indianapolis linebacker Shaq Leonard, he's limited with a concussion after being out the last two games. Naheem Hines, the running back, is full participant in practice after dealing with a concussion. JT, Jonathan Taylor, after sitting out last week with a high ankle sprain, was a full participant in practice. Kwity Paye, the defensive lineman for the Indianapolis Colts, he's been dealing with a high ankle sprain. He is questionable. And then on the Tennessee side, linebacker Zach Cunningham, he's questionable with an elbow injury. Greg, where do you lean on this game here?
I think I'm gonna take the under, just 'cause the AFC South game. I mean, the last one, that did open up a little bit, but I'm gonna take the Titans to cover and the Titans to win. Um, Yeah, on the Tennessee Titans side, Derrick Henry, you're starting him as an RB1. I think Robert Woods is the only pass catcher I'm willing to play right now, as a in flex conversation. That's about it on the Titans side. There's really not a lot of offense on that end besides the running game. Still waiting for Traylon Burks. Oh, no, Traylon Burks is just been, yeah, it's over for him. So yeah, on the Colts
Yeah, I think
side,
he should be back in. I don't know when he'll be back, but he's on injured
yeah.
reserve with a foot injury.
Yeah. On the Colts side, it's good to see JT back if he's able to go. You're hoping that he can bounce back because after week one had been a struggle for him until you don't want to see that Deion Jackson action. So hopefully he can get back to number one pick overall value in this one. You're starting him. You're starting Michael Pittman Jr. as a wide receiver one. Alec Pierce, I think, is a low end wide receiver two category. And I think Matt Ryan has some streaming value in this one. Definitely had to make some moves to start Matt Ryan a couple weeks. So yeah, I think I'm with it.
Yeah, I lean the over here, but I do take Tennessee to cover, Tennessee to win. JT, I think he, if he can go, I'm expecting him to go, but I think he's an RB2 this week. Michael Pittman Jr., wide receiver one option. Alec Pierce falls in and play as wide receiver two. I do agree Matt Ryan has some streaming value here. The Tennessee Titans pass defense has been very beatable. And so I think that allows, some streaming value here for Matt Ryan. And then on the Tennessee side, I agree. It's really Derrick Henry who, was probably a top 5 play
Mm-hmm.
at the position this week. And Robert Woods maybe has some wide receiver 3 flex value. His volume did go up prior to a disappointing game against the Washington Commanders in what was a good matchup. So,
Yeah.
that volume hopefully does stick. But keep in mind Indianapolis's pass defense has been pretty good. Stephon Gilmore has been locking people out on the outside. So,
Yeah.
all right, let's move on to the next game. We got the 5-1 New York Giants. Greg's 5-1 New York Giants traveling to
Sure.
Jacksonville to take on the 2-4 Jacksonville Jaguars. This game has a 42.5-point total, where the Jacksonville Jaguars are 3-point home favorites. The disrespect. Anyway, the weather is okay in this game. Jacksonville in terms of injuries, Marvin Jones Jr. is limited, or he was limited with a hamstring in practice this week. Jamal Agnew was a DNP with a knee injury. They got a bunch of other guys questionable on defense. And then for the New York Giants, running back Saquon Barkley, he's limited with a shoulder. Wide receiver Kenny Golladay was a DNP with a knee injury. And then Kadarius Toney, the wide receiver, who I have to mention him, but he's DNP with a hamstring.
Contractually obligated.
I'm contractually obligated to report all of his injuries that he's contractually obligated to have, right? Like Sterling Shepard, God rest your knee. I hope you heal. But he was contractually obligated, and now Kadarius Toney has then taken up the mantle to be the wide receiver that is forever on the injury report.
Yeah, they should just trade him, honestly.
I mean, yeah, that we could have, again, another New York wide receiver who we could have plenty of conversations about. Anyway, I'm going to take the under here. I'm going to take the Giants to cover. I will take the Giants to win. On the Jacksonville side, Trevor Lawrence, he's a QB2. Travis Etienne, he's an RB2 for me, and he's the guy that I would go with over James Robinson, who I have as an RB3. Evan Ingram is a top 10 tight end option. For the New York Giants, Saquon Barkley is an RB1. Daniel Jones, because of his legs, will always have RB or QB1 upside. Wan'Dale Robinson is a wide receiver 2 option, I think. I mean, the target should be there for him. And then Daniel Bellinger, tight end 1 option. You know it.
All right, I feel it. I feel this letdown game here coming, and I feel like this is the one. I just either that or I don't believe. I'm just like,
wrong New York team.
Being 5. I'm not used to being 5-1. That's just all. It's just weird. Like, so yeah, I'm gonna take the under. I'm gonna take Jacksonville to cover. I'm gonna take Jacksonville to win. On the Jacksonville side, I'm with you. ETN. I think the running back's a favorite right now. In that flex conversation, RB2 conversation. Robinson, little, category down, kind of. Christian Kirk is, been an up and down, player. To find who that receiver is going to be on this team, we talked about it. It's tough. Christian Kirk is probably more in a wide receiver 3 conversation for me, and that's probably the best option still on this Jaguars offense for wide receivers. Evan Ingram are willing to play as a low end tight end 1. On the Giants side, Saquon Barkley, always confident in him as a RB1 play. Wan'Dale Robinson, I won't give him wide receiver 2 bump yet, but I can make some flex conversation with him right now. Yeah, I probably need to see it because I'm willing to play Daniel Bellinger though for sure. Yeah.
I'm just saying, man. Manufactured touches, first game. True. You got like a bunch of guys on bye.
This is true. It's true. I play Tyquan Thornton over Wan'Dale Robinson.
I would play Wan'Dale Robinson. We could do a Wan'Dale Robinson Tyquan Thornton bet.
We could. It's not because of Wan'Dale. It's like the Giants' offense is still all Saquon and maybe some Daniel Bellinger. Sprinkle in some Daniel Bellinger with some Saquon.
I'm trying to see exactly where I have him this week in PPR leagues. Yeah, I got him in the top 20. I'm just saying. Oof. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see.
Who a Giants wide receiver in the top 20? Yo, what does that happen? I need to see. That's probably Odell. Like the last.
What happens when they're not an undrafted free agent? I don't know.
Yeah,
Sterling Shepard was balling. Darius Slayton was balling. Those guys have draft capital. Richie James, draft capital. David Sills. I don't know. Anyway, we done with this game, Greg?
Yeah, for sure.
Other than you picking against the Giants?
Yeah. I feel let down.
I get it, man. I get it. I think we'll have a similar
conversation. Not used to this.
I think we'll have a similar conversation when we break down the 4:00 games. Anyway, let's move on to the next game here. We've got the 2-4 Cleveland Browns traveling to Baltimore to take on the 3-3 Baltimore Ravens. This game is a 46.5 point total, where the Baltimore Ravens are 6.5 point favorites at home against their division rivals. In terms of weather, this game has possible rain. In terms of injuries, wide receiver for Baltimore, Rashad Bateman, is returned to practice in a limited fashion this week with a foot injury. J.K. Dobbins has been a DNP all week after his knee tightened up on Sunday. Not a good look. Mark Andrews is being a DNP all week with a knee injury. So that's definitely not a good look. And then for Cleveland, left tackle Jack Conklin is limited with a question. Actually, I don't know what he's limited with, but he's questionable. Offensive guard Wyatt Tiller also on the injury report. He's out with a calf injury. Offensive tackle Joe Haig is questionable, and then Myles Garrett and Jadeveon Clowney are both questionable in this matchup here. Greg, where are you at in this game here?
I'm gonna take the under. I'm gonna take Baltimore to cover, Baltimore to win. On the Ravens side, Lamar Jackson, QB1, starting him. The running game, I don't think I can really trust anyone right now besides Lamar Jackson. I mean, he's the quarterback, and the main running back right now for them. And as far as the pass catching, there's only one pass catcher I want, and that's Mark Andrews. That man is a bona fide stud. Like as far as receiving wise, everyone knows it's going to one person. He still finds his way to get it done. On the Brown side, Nick Chubb, RB1, Kareem Hunt, RB2, and Amari Cooper. You're playing him, I think, is the main pass catcher in this offense. It's pretty easy game. These two teams don't waver from who's being fantasy relevant.
Yeah, I'm going to take the under here. I'm going to take Cleveland to cover. Going to take Baltimore to win. For the Baltimore side, Lamar is a QB1. If Andrews can go, he's obviously the usual suspect that is a top 2 option at the position. If Bateman can go, which it seems like he's on track to potentially maybe go, I think he's a wide receiver 4 flex option. I think Devin Duvernay probably gets a bump if Mark Andrews can't go because there's no tight end that the Ravens have on their roster that's going to take all of Mark Andrews' opportunities. Right. Isaiah Likely is not. I mean, he's a good receiver, but I don't think he can handle the full Mark Andrews role. Probably do some of those things.
Mm-hmm.
I think Kenyon Drake in this running back economy is an RB3 option. It's not a nice RB3 option. It's not one that you feel comfortable about. But again, if you're hurting at the position, I know I've got him as somebody I'm going to potentially pivot to if DeAndre Swift can't go. So, I definitely, if he's out there floating on waivers, just take a look. Plus, we don't know how long this Dobbins injury is either. So, that's on the Cleveland side, Nick Chubb, RB1, RB2 option, Kareem Hunt, an RB3 option. Amari Cooper is a wide receiver 3 option this week. Baltimore's, been better against the wide receivers. And then Jacoby Brissett, a quarterback 2 in some super flex leagues. That's it for me.
With that. Yeah.
Oh, and then David Njoku. I didn't put him down, but I think he's got to be in your lineup. The matchup is good. The targets have been there. The yards have been there. So I think he's got to be somebody that has got to be in your lineup as a top 5 play at the position.
Yeah, especially with tight ends.
Yeah, I mean, especially. Anyway, let's move on to the next game here. The 3-3 Atlanta Falcons traveling to Cincinnati to take on the 3-3 Cincinnati Bengals, where this game has a 47.5 point total, and the Cincinnati Bengals, according to FanDuel Sportsbook, are 6.5 point favorites. In terms of weather, we're okay. In terms of injuries, cornerback Casey Hayward for Atlanta was placed on injured reserve recently. And then for Cincinnati, Jamar Chase popped up with a hip injury. He's limited in practice. Hayden Hurst is limited with a groin. Logan Wilson limited with a shoulder. That's the linebacker there for Cincinnati. And the best news on this injury report is the person who's not on it, and that is T. Higgins, who's been battling an ankle, played last week, not on the injury report. So that's definitely fantastic news. And I will take the over here. I'll take Atlanta to cover. I'll take Cincinnati to win. For the Atlanta side, Marcus Mariota is a QB1 option. Dare I say it, Kyle Pitts, tight end 1 option this week. Drake London, the volume or the target share has been there. The volume hasn't really been there because Atlanta wants to run the what out of the football. So Drake London, based on the volume, he'll see is probably a wide receiver 3 for me. Cincinnati, Joe Burrow is a quarterback 1. Jamar Chase, a wide receiver 1. T. Higgins, a wide receiver 1. Joe Mixon, an RB1 option. And then Hayden Hurst is a tight end 1 option as well.
Yeah, I'm gonna go take the over. I'm gonna take Cincinnati to cover, Cincinnati to win. On Atlanta side, I do like Mariota. I do like what he can do with his legs. Bengals defense has struggled a little bit too as well. So I think he's gonna have some opportunities here as a borderline QB1. Drake London, you're playing him as the main pass catcher in this offense. Kyle Pitts, I think he can build off that momentum from last week, getting that touchdown. Hopefully, he can get more targets this way. We like to see that target share go up. So I think you're playing him as a low end tight end 1. On the Bengals side, Joe Burrow, QB1, Joe Mixon, RB1, both of those receivers, Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. Yeah, I agree with you. Both wide receiver 1s. Yeah, and Hayden Hurst. This offense is explosive, and he's also in the tight end 1 category. So yeah, this good a good game for them. Good matchup. Atlanta Falcons definitely a bad defense.
Yeah, we just need Arthur Smith to realize his team is probably going to be trailing against Joe Burrow. He's got to score some points.
Yeah.
Let's not run the football that much. Drake London, Kyle Pitts combined for 61% of the team targets the last 3 weeks. The problem is that pie is
I'm sure
it's big.
Yeah. You would think it'd be at least a little less. Like your best running backs out, your best one of your best players, Cordell Patterson. Like I'm a run a little less. Like
nope, they're like between our quarterback, our 2 backup running backs, we're gonna figure this out. We're gonna run the football. I mean, look, until they stop winning, it's gonna continue to be the case.
Yeah.
Let's move on to the next game here. The 3-3 Green Bay Packers travel to Washington and take on the 2-4 Washington Commanders. This game has a 41.5 point total, where the Green Bay Packers, who were trying to prove that the Giants did not break them, are 5.5 point road favorites. There's possible rain in this game. In terms of injuries on the offensive line for Green Bay, Elgton Jenkins, the tackle, is questionable. David Bakhtiari, the other tackle, is questionable. Sammy Watkins, he was designated to return from injured reserve with that hamstring injury, so practice in a limited fashion. Christian Watson, the wide receiver, was DNP with a hamstring injury. And then on the Washington side, wide receiver rookie Jahan Dotson left practice after aggravating the hamstring injury that kept him out the last 2 weeks. So that's just, not great there. And then running back Jonathan Williams, he was a DNP with a knee injury. Tight end Logan Thomas, a DNP with a calf. And then tight end John Bates was a DNP with a hamstring. Greg, what do you got?
I'm going to take the under, taking the Commanders to cover, but I'm going to take the Packers to win somehow. I think just, the Commanders are also a bad team. I think, Packers they're like not a good team, but they're at least over being trash. So I think they get this win. I think they were broken though the moment they traded Devontae, man. I don't know what they thought was gonna happen. Like they don't have anyone to pass to. Like it's crazy. So I'm taking Aaron Jones. I'm starting him as a borderline RB1. AJ Dillon, I think, has some flex value in this with the bye weeks. I can't really trust in the pass catchers right now though. So I think they do rely on the run game. On the Commander side, Brian Robinson, he's I think he's just going to continue to surge. I mean, last week was probably the opportunity to buy. Maybe the price is still right, but yeah, he's about to take off. I think he has RB1 upside. And as far as the receivers, it's tough because Curtis Samuel kind of dropped off in the last couple of weeks. I think Terry McLaurin is probably the only one I can make the argument to play, but like he's even close to being a bench candidate at this point. Carson Wentz that line has been bad. Carson Wentz hasn't been able to get opportunities.
Well, Carson Wentz isn't playing. I forgot to mention we don't have Carson
yeah.
Wentz in this game because he
Yeah,
has hand surgery,
right.
so we get Taylor Heineke.
Yeah, Taylor Heineke. Yeah, I mean, Taylor Heineke's not bad, so we know what he can do. He almost beat Tom Brady. This offense might be back, low key, low key, low key. So I think I'm willing to play Terry McLaurin.
Terry McLaurin does have the tough matchup against Jair Alexander, who could probably potentially shadow him. He shadowed Garrett Wilson, so if he's going to spend his time chasing Garrett Wilson, I imagine he's going to spend his time chasing Terry McLaurin. But I will take the over. I will take Green Bay to cover. We'll take Green Bay to win. This has to be a get-right game for Green Bay. I mean, you're playing against Taylor Heineke, who he was solid last year, but I think he got exposed as the year went on. I mainly know that because I kept using him as a stream of the week and start of the week, and it was not working out at points last year. But for Green Bay, Aaron Jones, an RB2 with RB1 upside here. I think Lazard and or Dobbs are both playable in this matchup. Washington's been terrible against the pass, and they have to get Dobbs more involved. I think, Dobbs had 9 targets last week, and obviously for obvious reasons, whatever, right? But the Jets have 2 really good corners. So I'm willing to throw two catches on 9 targets out the window when he spent most of that time trying to get open against those 2 guys. So, I think I'm willing to play Dobbs this week. On the Washington side, I need to see some more from Brian Robinson. The matchup is great. I will play him, but in order for him to really take hold of that role, because right now it's a 3-man backfield, right? Like all 3 of these guys played last week. It was Robinson's first start,
his first
second
game.
NFL game,
Yeah,
second NFL game, right? But he still hasn't had a target on the season, so that kind of scares me. Is he just gonna be the first and second down back and short yardage goal line back on a team that we're not expecting to score a ton of touchdowns? I don't know, but it's just something I've been thinking about because I have him on one of my rosters and trying to figure out what to do with them. But I think this could be a McKissick or Gibson game, depending on the game flow and if Aaron Rodgers and company can put up some points.
Yeah, I think this game stays competitive because the Packers are just also not good. So to me,
hey man, is it just that the Giants and the Jets were good, and the Patriots they've been rolling through teams with Bailey? We were making fun of Bailey Zappi, but they've been rolling through teams.
True.
So maybe the Packers are who we thought they were. And I'm pretty sure D-Hop might have gone over 70.
Okay, there we go.
Still the third quarter.
Here we go. Waiting for that touchdown, right?
Though. Yeah, just
a touch. Yeah, same. Need that Kamara touch too. It's still not one touch this year yet. What's up with that?
Oh man, D-Hop balling. Anyway, before I get distracted, let's get to this last game so we could actually go enjoy Thursday Night Football instead of having to hold in all these reactions as I'm watching and we're recording. But the 3-3 Tampa Bay Buccaneers travel to Carolina to take on the 1-5 Carolina Panthers, where this game has a 40.5 point total. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers are 10.5 point home or road favorites rather. Weather is okay in this game. In terms of injuries for Carolina, Baker Mayfield was limited in practice, will not play this week. It's already been announced that PJ Walker will start. Sam Darnold did return, to practice, dealing with the high ankle sprain that he suffered, in the preseason. And then, sorry, I'm just reacting to Keontae Ingram out here, vulturing touchdowns from Kyler Murray and Benjamin. So, probably a guy we'll talk about tomorrow and a guy we'll talk about on Monday. So, anyway, the Corey Littleton, the linebacker, he's limited with a groin. Frankie Louvu, the other linebacker, he's down, is limited with a shoulder. And then Laviska Shenault, the wide receiver, limited with a hamstring. CJ Henderson, limited with a concussion. And then on the Tampa Bay side, Carlton Davis, DNP with a hip, Cam Brate, DNP with a neck. And then Julio Jones, remember that guy? Limited with a knee injury. In terms of this matchup, I will take the under. I'll take Tampa Bay to cover. I'll take Tampa Bay to win. For Carolina, CMC, he's an RB1. Hear me out. Just hear me out. Right?
I was about to be like, next. We on to the next.
Hear me out. DJ Moore might actually be a decent play this week. Again, the bye weeks, that's like 2 receivers per team that we're losing potentially on some teams, right? Like Buffalo, you got Gabe Davis and Stephon Diggs. You don't have Justin Jefferson. You don't have Adam Thielen. You don't have Cooper Kupp. You don't have Allen Robinson to even think
I was
about
about to be like, are you going to play Allen Robinson or we can't even play?
I mean, with all these bye weeks here and no Robbie Anderson, right? Those targets have to go somewhere. I looked at, last week who benefited the most from Robbie Anderson getting kicked out of the game mid-game.
That's
It
even
was
if he
DJ
get
Moore.
like,
I know he'll have to
they might
get
not
like
even get 30 plays off. Like they're going to be 3 and out every time. Like there's no way they're getting end up moving the ball against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Like
saying DJ Moore could walk out of this game with double-digit targets, and he could finish as a wide receiver 3 or better. There's just,
I think, yeah, you're right. He can have that Sterling Shepard day. That
right,
that
5 for 60,
5 for 60.
fall in the end zone,
But
maybe.
no, I can't.
But it'll be 5 for 60 on like 14 targets.
Word.
Yeah, so I think those targets have to go to the most talented wide receiver on the team. And on the Tampa Bay side, I can't believe that I didn't. I was so dumbfounded by me being willing to play. I was trying to prepare this pitch to you, Greg, for DJ Moore that I didn't write up the Tampa Bay side. Leonard Fournette, RB1 option for sure. Chris Godwin, has definitely been getting healthier. I know you wrote about there as a start of the week last week. I think he definitely is a wide receiver 2 option this week. Tom Brady, not really willing to play him unless like the game is expected to shoot out or something like that. I mean, it's just he's been underwhelming. The offense has obviously been underwhelming, but not excited to play him to say the least. And then Mike Evans obviously has that touchdown upside always. Rashad White, continue to stash that man. And then Cade picked up in our League of Extraordinary People. Cam Brate potentially being out with, obviously he was DNP all week with that serious neck injury, but him potentially being out. Cade Otton steps in as a potential option at the tight end position in what is a terrible, terrible tight end position.
It is. I'm gonna take the under Tampa Bay to cover, Tampa Bay to win. On Carolina side, I'm only with CMC, and that's really it. I mean, maybe the 6 for 40 line, 6 for 40 line could happen, but that's the most I give you.
No, it was 4 for 60. It was 4 for 60.
4 for 60, yeah. But yeah,
on 14 targets. Can't forget what the
14 targets. But yeah, confident CMC, of course. On the Buck side, yeah, Tom Brady he's gotten games where he's getting passing yards. Had 243 last week, 351 the previous week. But he's only had 1 game over 1 touchdown, so he's got to get the touchdowns up. Hopefully, he can, that can happen this week. But I still think, he's more in that high in QB2 territory right now, QB15 range, QB12. Leonard Fournette though, RB1. Running game's been so good, they really didn't, need to rely on him, but maybe they do to get some wins. And then as far as he was yelling as O-line last week, so O-line probably has been really helping him. Mike Evans, wide receiver 1, Chris Godwin, wide receiver 2. And I do like Cade Allen as whoever that tight end is in the Tampa Bay Bucs offense is going to get looks, going to get targets. So if Cade Allen's starting, I'm playing him.
I agree. And when is Brady not yelling at anybody? At somebody.
That's
right?
true.
He's always yelling at somebody.
Yeah, if it's not the tablet, it's his player.
Yeah, right. He's gone through like 3 tablets already. It's not a player, it's a coach. It's not the coach, it's the ref. If it's not the ref, it's Marshawn Lattimore. So anyway, everyone, we definitely appreciate you kicking it with us on this Thursday evening. Obviously, started a little bit later than we normally. Appreciate you for listening. Just make sure you subscribe, you like, comment, review, all that good stuff. And again, we appreciate you, and we will catch y'all on Saturday when we break down the 4 p.m. games, break down our starts of the week, and play some Get Money where we're tied right now, 3-3.
Woo. Go.
Crazy stuff. And we do have a Tyquan Thornton, Wan'Dale Robinson bet, apparently. So
there we go. Yes, sir.
We'll see that. And Greg, did you know that at halftime of this game, we had more total points in that game than we did the 2 last games? Thursday night football?
Crazy
stuff.
2 pick sixes. What I'm saying, whoever got those started Arizona's defense. Oh man.
Wait till you open up the CBS app, Greg, because it's our opponent.
Oh man. Oh. I'm definitely not opening up now.
I was like, oh, we have Taysom Hill. He has Cardinals defense. Like, this is great. Taysom Hill scores. That's bad for them. Yeah, also bad for us apparently. Anyway, that is all we got. We'll catch y'all on Saturday. Make sure y'all tap in. It'll be Saturday morning. But yeah, just make sure you tap in. And have a good one, everybody. We're out of here. Peace.